Let's give it a go. I've got an hour or two. I've got an hour. So let's give it a go. It'd help if my board was plugged in. There you go. Sorry, if that made noise. It's my PC. All right. So yeah, let me explain. Catch you guys up a little. I've been painting a lot of this kind of glossy, retro, futuristic spaceship consoles and stuff like that. I've been absolutely loving it lately. It came from this one. This is where it kind of started. It really started with Sorry, you guys can't see much of that. But yeah, where were we? This one's not set up properly. One sec, sorry. There you go. So yeah, what I was trying to say is, started painting a lot of this kind of glossy stuff. You can see. And that came from this. Came from this little hand, like a door ID or identity recognition tool here. Kind of like almost a toilet material, if that makes sense. Not in a bad way. In my head, it's kind of like metal that's been painted with white enamel and then painted with like a layer of like clear lacquer. But even that got like updated. Oh, you see how satisfying that is as well. The way the hands start off so simple and then there they're just completely nice and smooth. Very happy with this one. Instantly, this little thing became one of my favourite paintings, and I did a bunch around it, which I also love. This one was kind of the first one, well, my least favourite, but I like him still. This one's cool. Really makes me think of SpongeBob for some reason. I think it's that like kind of chrome used in a lot of that TV show. This one's really nice. I like this one. It's kind of like an egg walker robot. It's an interesting one though. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. We're back. But yeah, I really love this. My favourite part is the seat. There you go. And I painted this as well, which is similar to this guy. I like it a lot, but I don't like it as much as the other stuff for some reason. I like the idea that this thing's like a hologram inside of the vehicle. But I don't know. I don't know. It looks a bit simple. Simple? I don't know. Is that the way? Like it's not very explored. It looks like something that would be in the background rather than an actual point of interest. That's okay. Yeah, we had some of these attempts, which I believe were also streamed. So yeah, you get to watch me paint whatever this is. Still not entirely certain. But yeah, we've kind of washed up here, and I drew these two separately in Magma, and then imported them into this canvas where I painted this third one. And just really been enjoying that glossy, lots of donut shapes and ellipses. Absolutely loving doing stuff like this. And this space console, by the way, like Mission Command or whatever, just I was so happy with the way this design turned out. And actually, my last stream was me starting to turn this into a full composition. Yeah, it's quite fun, that one. This one I just love. It's right up my alley of just weird designs. And I was trying to go for that same kind of almost a toilet. You see, it literally almost looks like a toilet bowl there. But I quite like that because it's kind of like obviously toilet's that material because they're easy to clean, and I want my spaceships to seem like, you know, there's not a single particle of dust. You know what I mean? Like they are completely spotless and clean, indeed. Like almost like a clean room. And I painted this guy. I'm really happy with how these kind of lenses turn out. This is a machine that you're meant to use, um, kind of like a microscope. So you're going to look into these two lenses. Really love how this desaturation and kind of like highlight went. Absolutely love how that went. Love how this handle went too. And we're going to start off on this guy because you can see he's unfinished here, and actually he's unfinished on the base, and just needs a lot of touching up and improving in general. So yeah, and these are all made using my basic speed painting method. You've got a main brush, a blur brush, and an airbrush. You can make some very realistic effects just with those three brushes, and they can all be round brushes, by the way. In fact, I recommend that they all be round brushes. The rubber, I just use a key that turns the brush into a rubber, but obviously not all software does that, so you might also have an extra brush due to that. This Critter, it's easily my favourite. Really works for this kind of painting very well. You really don't need anything that complex to paint like this. Like I say, that these other two, these were started on Magma, which is actually like an online painting app in your browser. I painted these completely publicly, like so, and the tools on Magma aren't very complex at all. So really, really is one of the most simple ways to paint digitally. It's a really digital way to paint, but a really simple way to paint. I'm actually considering exploring some ways that I can kind of mimic this in traditional. Just see what I can come up with for that, eh? Traditional, such like everything matters so much more to do with the. You can't just separate it between digital and traditional. I don't think very easily, because digital is just one. I guess there's different software, but for me, every piece of software that I paint in digital, it looks and feels exactly the same and acts exactly the same. So I just do it in the most basic digital way. But when it comes to traditional art, you know, there's an infinite amount of mediums that you can use, really. You know, you can use pen and ink and then watercolor, so on. Different steps with different tools. It's not just one category, like digital is just one category, right? Every digital painting app, at the heart of it, runs kind of the same brush engine, right? But it's absolutely not the case for traditional. Traditional is so much more than, you know what I mean, than just a parent category like that. I mean, it is a parent category very much more than digital is. Wow, that looks so nice. Cutting off all the kind of fat on that stand. Trimming it up to perfection. I like this about Critter as well. You've got it's a bit risky, but I don't trust it very much. But you can go back in time quite far, and you've got a. You know, I'm actually scrolling down a page now of all of the every single brushstroke I've made, and I can just go straight from before we even started streaming to now. It's nice to be able to see kind of big changes and see how much you like it. I want it to be quite a thick base because This egg shape isn't very stable looking naturally. I like everything to look stable in this retro-futuristic style. Stable and heavy and clunky, and but still like really state of the art and, you know, precise and fine where it needs to be. Just trying to get that into every bit of the design language. I'm wondering how to make. Well, actually, I'm gonna do this first. This door, I want to shift it that way. Just a little bit wonky in it. It's not like in the middle. Not sure how I'm going to achieve that yet. Let's try liquefy. Why not? This is where digital becomes kind of like just incredibly powerful. Being able to just cut and paste, just move that over there a little bit, you know. That works quite well, I feel like. Trying to figure out how I'm going to do the edges of this. Typically glossy stuff like this, it's going to have kind of a rim light around all of the edges because there's so much compressed into the horizons compared to everywhere else. I feel like the shape of this benefit a lot being a bit more like that. Reshape the foot just a tiny bit. Yeah, that looks stable now and symmetrical. Happy with that. And goddamn, does it look real and believable? Just love it. Love the way this glossy effect looks. Honestly, so fun to just be able to sit down and paint something as well. So easy to do imaginatively. Yeah, you don't need any kind of reference. It's all just abstract shapes. See, I'm just trying to add random shapes, and it doesn't always work out, but when it does, it makes a really boring area like what was here before just plain blue. It just makes it pop. You know what I mean? It's worth trying to. It's worth trying to get that bit of interest in, you know. Just really gotta make sure you are. I think I'm gonna do another liquefy here. Right, what we're gonna do is a little bit like that. See? Okay, we can do that. Yeah, we can see before, after, before, after. Yeah, it's pretty warped afterwards. Definitely, definitely warped it a little bit. You can see it sharpen the edges too. Like blur brushing there. I'll straighten this back up again, and I think we can salvage it, you know. Still might end up changing that design. A little bit, just a bit strange still to me. Trying to sneak some of this purple in somewhere. Anywhere it'll go. Alright. Okay, gonna patch up this little bit on the joystick. Okay. Also gonna go in with the blur brush and just take some of this brush strokes out. That is really what the blur brush is for, by the way, is taking out brush strokes, unwanted brush strokes. There was something I figured out I wanted to do when I wasn't painting this and I was just looking at it. Can't remember it for the life of me though. Still just completely making up these shapes. But damn. Can't get them looking good. Something about painting these really reflective, glossy, abstract shapes. Just so satisfying. Crazy, man. Alright. Yeah, the kind of idea, I think, is someone presses this latch and this kind of swings out. Kind of swings out. I'm on the blur brush. Yeah, the idea is this door kind of swings out that way. And then you put like a cube in like a little holder in it. And then the guy looks in the eyepiece and like see information, something like a librarian or something like that. I don't know. It's interesting. I kind of end up designing the machines, and as I'm designing them, kind of thinking about, what could they be. Very backwards way of design, but I quite like it. Quite enjoy it. All right. I think this thing is nearly done. Need to get rid of that little bit of sloppiness there. And I'll probably go back to it a lot as well. Everything gets gone back to by me when I do this sort of painting, I think. Actually looks a little bit better maybe. Alright then, comes to the part that I dislike most, and that's trying to come up with an idea for another one. Alright. What can we go with? Oh, I did want to do something that was like kind of like something kind of similar to like a sonar on a ship, but it's in like a spaceship that hovers over the land, and this is console is like where they're looking at a 3D kind of cutout of the surface of the planet, and maybe like plotting and planning points or identifying stuff. Oh, I know what it's gonna look like. Right, here we go. It's gonna be quite a big one. I needed a better shape for these. But yeah, either way, something like that. I feel like I've already come up with this idea before somewhere else, but yeah. And this is gonna be like a glass dome, and they're looking through and seeing like, you know, that makes sense. Like the terrain. What are they gonna need? I always like the joystick. It might have a little joystick like this one has. I wanted two of them. What if I go with something like... Would that look good? Nah. I'm just wondering what should be on here. I might just make it empty space. I don't think it would look too terrible. Like that. I think this definitely needs another monitor. On top there though. Just to show like the coordinates would be cool. I think like a double number separate screen up here would be really cool looking. Yeah, something like that. It's got like two alien numbers on there, and that's kind of like the coordinates. Maybe give it a pin at the top as well, to give it that kind of retro look. Or actually, I kind of like giving all of these a round top, and I like the idea that they kind of pick it up with you know, when they're building the space rooms with all these machines in, the crane that they use kind of like vacuums them on, you know. So they've all got this kind of smooth, bold head on them. It's going to be a really interesting one, I feel like. I feel like the screen would be more interesting if it wasn't round. Trying to get the 3D-ness of that monitor marked down, but it's a bit much. I do wonder if people use these machines sitting down or standing up. Thinking about that yesterday. I like the idea of people standing up because it's like, I like the idea of them really concentrating when they're using these machines, like it's life or death. That little bit more dramatic. Right then, that's a pretty nice drawing for it anyway. A nice sketch indeed. I think that will make a pretty nice image. I think it wants to be just a little bigger though. It is a big machine. I might make it a bit wider too, maybe. Nah. Yeah, something like that. Last sketch of the page, I think this. It's a good page. We'll fill this one in another time, I think, because we won't have enough time to really properly start it with our 1 hour. I don't know where we're gonna go though. Give me 1 second. I'll be back in like maybe 5 minutes. Alright, I'm back. And you know what? I'm actually kind of tired, so I think I'm gonna make a cheeky nap in instead. But it has been fun, and I'm trying to start this off like as casually as possible, so just trying to really keep it more like a bit of a check-in every now and then at the moment. Alright then.